Okay, hi everyone. Today it's a review. So if you have, I hope you guys went over the review. And if you have questions, you put them on chat. I will start first by going a little bit over the quiz that you had, some of you had difficulties with, and then we start the addressing all your questions. Okay. So for those who have questions, start putting them on chat for us. So quiz number 5, usually you had trouble with number 3. 1 and 2 was not really hard for the student. So number 1, you have to find the equation of the line that go through a point and it's perpendicular to this line. So it's go through this and perpendicular. So first, to find equation of any line, I need the point, which I have. I need the slope. I don't have the slope exactly. So first I need to find the slope of the line. First, we're going to find the slope of the line 2y plus x minus 5 equal to 0. Okay. And to do that, we should rewrite it in the form y equal mx plus b. And what x is multiplied by will be my slope. So I need to solve for y. So I will have 2y equal minus x plus 5. I have to divide by 2 across. It means minus 1/2 x plus 5/2. So the slope here is what x is multiplied by, so which is minus 1/2. Okay. But what I'm interested in is not this line. I'm interested in the line which is perpendicular to this. So the line which is perpendicular to this line so the slope of it, so the slope of the line perpendicular is minus 1 over minus 1/2. And this is where some of you had a little bit of trouble. Remember fraction, this is minus 1. You multiply it by the reciprocal, so which will give you a 2. So we're using the property of fractions. Minus 1 divided by that is equal to 2. So now let us see the equation. So now I have the slope and I have the point. Now I need to find the equation. So we can use the point slope form equal to 2x minus 4. And finally, I solve for my y. It means y minus 5 is 2x minus 8. Y equal to x. I add 5 both sides to x minus 3. So that's for that. So one of the main mistake is the algebra at this stage. A lot of few students got that piece wrong. Very good. Now number 2, please put your questions on chat. I'm starting to see some. Feel comfortable to put your question and I will pick every one of them. Now the question number 2 is, suppose f is a function. Some of its value are in the table. Is it f? Is it possible for f to be linear? To do this problem, we have to compute the average rate of change between any 2 points. Now in this problem, the change in x is not the same. So from here to here, x increased by 2. From here to here, it increased by 4. So the way we're going to do it is by finding the average rate. So if x is between, or the slope, minus 2 and 0, then the change is equal to, remember, the change is output over input. Some students are still reversing them. Be very careful. It's the output. It means 4 minus 10 over 0 minus 2. So from here to here, we went down by minus 6, but x changed by 2. So making the ratio minus 6 over 2, which is minus 3. And in here, between 0 and 4, what happened to the ratio? Again, between 0 and 4, x went up by 4, and y from 4 to minus 8. So from 4 to minus, so it's minus 8 minus 4 over 4 minus 0. So from here to here is minus 12. So the ratio is minus 12 to 4, which is minus 3. Since the average rate is constant, it means f could be linear. Now, why we said possible? Because we don't know a lot of value. After it may change after that, but is it possible given those value you have? And the answer is yes. Okay, so linear. All right, the last question, and then we go back to everything else. So the last question is this. So as dry air moves upward, it cools. So which is, we know that it gets colder as we go up. Let f be the function that to the height, it measured in kilometer above ground. So if the height in h kilometer above ground, the temperature in degrees Celsius at that height. So what does f do? So f takes for input the height above ground. That's what f does. And it spit out the temperature at this height. Okay, it takes for input the height and for output the temperature. So this is my input in kilometer, and this is my output in degrees Celsius. Okay, and question number 1, assume f of h is linear, find a formula. Now, h here is like x. Some of you confused x and h. We should not. We cannot always call the input by x. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't help you if I do that. The input, I can give it any letter I want. Since my input is height, I called it h. So h here is a variable. H is the x. That's what h is. Instead of calling it x, we call it h. I can call it any letter I really want. So f of h is linear, find a formula. So before we do that, if I want to sketch the graph of this function, okay, it's linear, so I know the graph is a line. So if I want to sketch the graph, what goes on the horizontal axis? Temperature or height? Always. Horizontal is the input. So this is height in kilometer. So these are the height values, 1, 2, 3, so on. And here, the temperature, okay? Now the function is linear. It means when I graph it, I get a line. And I know that if h is 0, the temperature is 20. So that's the Celsius. That's the temperature. If if h is 1.8, so let me take, let us say this is 1, this is 2. So 1.8 is somewhere here. The height is 2. Sorry, the temperature is 2. So this is 2 degrees. And the graph is a line. It means that's my height. Now, of course, you don't have to draw everything, but let's see the picture. Assume f of h is linear. Find the formula. What does it mean, linear? Linear, it means it follows, the formula should be of the form, a slope times h, that's your variable. That's the variable. Plus b. That's what is linear. It means the equation of a line. So find the formula. So first you need to find the slope. But what is the slope? Again, it's the change of the output over the input. So it means it's 2 minus 20. That's the change in temperature over the change in kilometer. So that's how much the temperature changed between 0 and 1.8 kilometer over how many kilometers changed. So we compute that. So that's minus 18 over 1.8. It is minus 10. Now what is the formula? So I get m. Now I need the b. So it's just finding the equation of a line. You know the slope and you know a point. So what is the point? Now you can think this way. Either you automatically can say since the output at 0 is 20, the B is immediately 20. So you don't have to do anything because I gave you the intercept. And then f of h become minus, sorry, f of h become, f of h is the input, is minus 10h plus 20. It's not 10x. H is your input, that's your variable, that's your h. Now the question is, identify the slope. The slope is minus 10. Give it its unit. Now if we don't, how do we find the unit? The unit is, we go back to how we found the slope. What's the slope? It's the change in temperature, which is degree, over change in kilometer, in height. So it's change of temperature over change in height. So this tells me that the unit is going to be the change in temperature, which is Celsius per kilometer. That's how we can find the unit easy. Now let's interpret. What does this mean? Minus 10 degrees per kilometer. Now I go back to the graph. The slope is minus 10. What does it mean? If I start here and I go 1 unit to the right, it means I go 1 kilometer because that's what my input is. I go down by 10, but I go down by 10, what? I go down by minus 10 degrees. It means every time we go up by 1 kilometer, the temperatures go down by minus 10. Another kilometer, another 10. That's what the slope tells me. So the slope tells us that for every unit increase in height, the temperature goes down by 10 degrees. So the unit is 10 degrees per kilometer. Every kilometer in height, the temperature goes down by 10. That's the slope. Another extra kilometer, another 10. Another extra kilometer, another 10. That's how should be the picture. That's really what the slope is. The change of output per unit change of input. Okay. All right, so this is for the quiz because you will have, of course, problem along those lines on the test. All right, so now I'll go back to the every questions you guys have. I think we have time for all of those. So I start with Dusan, and the question is, review number 5 and 10, please. Okay, number 5 on the review. Dusan, is number 5 on the review? Yes, very good. Okay, so we start with that, number 5. Let me pick it. Let me pick my review. And then number 10 and number 4. Okay. Number 5. Number 5 is crucial. If you guys hadn't asked for it, I would have actually even brought it up. Number 5. Okay, what it is. So I have a function. And I gave you the rule. It's x squared minus 5x. And then I gave you the graph. It means right here, what does it mean, the graph? It means basically I want to decide, I put x, f of x, and for different value of f, okay, we find f of x and we connect points. So for example, at 0, I have a 0, for example. At 1, I have 1 minus 4. And you take several points. At minus 1, I will have 6. And we draw all those points and we connect. And we get a picture like this because, I mean, this is a parabola. And then I picked 3 points. So I picked the following point. The point here, I called it C. And I gave you 1 coordinate. And then I picked another point down here. It's a B, and I gave you another coordinate, 1, but I didn't give you the second one. And then I picked this point here, A. Again, I gave you 1 coordinate. And my question is, find the missing coordinate for A, B, and C on the graph. So I want this, I want that, and I want this one. Okay, so that's really the question. So it's like, basically that's trying to understand what the graph tells me. Okay, so we start with one by one. Let's start with the A, and we go back with A. Right. How can I find the coordinate of the point A? What is given to me? What do I need to find? So if I'm giving you the second coordinate, it means what am I giving you? Back to you guys. So that's my function, that's the rule. It means I'm giving you the y. I'm giving you the y, I'm giving you the output. And what do you want to find? You need to find the input. That's really what the question is. So I'm giving you the output, you need to find the input. So how do we do that? It means I want to set. I'm asking Q, I'm giving Q the output is 0. So that's the point A, set and find X. Because what does it mean, the graph? It means every point here, every point on the graph, whatever the input is, whatever this is going to be F at this input. That's what characterizes the graph. Every point has for coordinate, whatever the X is, if X is 5, this has to be F of 5. X is 6, this has to be F of 6. So that's the relationship between them. So now I'm telling you what the F is. I'm giving you that. You have to give me the input. Okay, so we're going to solve for it. So we set x squared minus 5x equal to 0. And you're going to solve. Now, how do we solve? Remember, whenever you have x squared in general, how do we solve? What is the keyword? Did anybody write the keyword? What's the keyword in solving? Nobody? Factor. Factor. You set equal to 0, it's already being set for you, and you factor. That's how we're going to solve. All right, now you have two expressions. When you multiply them, you get a 0. So this occurred, it means x equals 0. So I drew my graph a little bit off here, and x equal to 5. So my graph should have gone like this. Sorry, I should have copied it better. Okay, x equals 0, x equal to 5. So what is my point A? Of course, not 0, because 0 is this one. I want the point A, so the point A has for coordinate 5 for the first and 0 for the second. Okay, that's really what we're working with. Now let's look for B. Okay, in B, what am I giving you? Where did I get 5 from? You solve. So if this is 0, it means x equal to 0 or x minus 5 equal to 0. So when you multiply two numbers, how can the product be 0? Only one of them has to be 0. Either this 0 or this 0. It means x equal to 5. Very good. Now B, what did I give you here? So you need this component. What am I giving you? What do you have to find? Back to you guys. So this coordinate is 1. This is a point on the graph. If this is 1, what should be the output here? This time I'm giving you the input. I'm asking you for the output. So for B, I only need to find f of 1. So f of 1 here is 1 square, because my function is, I keep writing the function in front of us because I'm losing it. So my function is x squared minus 5x. It means if this is 1, from here to here is f of 1. It means this minus 5 times 1, which is equal to minus 4. So the point B is 1 minus 4. That's my point B. Okay, now C. Okay, C. this point. What am I giving you? What do you need to find? So this is C. It means basically this is C here. And what am I giving you? In this problem, what do I need to find? I'm giving you the output. And your question is, what should go here? Because this f of 6, that's an output. So the question is, f of what is giving me 6? F of what is giving me 6? So to do that, I need to set. So here, we're going to set f of x equals 6 and solve for x. Okay, because here I'm giving you f of what, and you have to give me the what. You have to give me this piece. So the easiest way is we say, okay, I set f of x equal to 6, and I start looking for x. But what is f of x? F of x is x squared minus 5x is equal to 6. And I need to solve for x. Again, how do we solve this? As a quadratic, or the power of x is 2, we have to make the right part of the equality equal to 0. And the way we're going to do this is by taking away minus 6 from both sides. So this will give me x squared minus 6 equal to 0. And now we have to factor the expression. So we factor the expression. It means we're going to look for two numbers. When you multiply them, you get minus 6. So 2 and 3 are the possibilities. And here you can do trial and check and trial, x and x. And the minus plus. Now, I usually doubt myself at this stage. I always check. X times x is x squared minus 3x plus 2x. Okay, so those are not working. So what are, so 2 and 3 are not working. Absolutely not. What do I want? Another two numbers, so 1 and 6. Okay, they're not working. So 1 and 6. Will this do it? I don't know. Let's check. X squared minus 6x plus x minus 5x minus 6. So it's trial and error. If you try something, it doesn't work, you go back. So now if this product is 0, how can this occur? Either this expression is 0 or this expression is 0. So either x plus 1 equal to 0 or x minus 6 equal to 0. The first one gives me x is minus 1. The second gives me x equal to 6. Okay, so there are two things, two input that brings up an output of 6. Now, which one I want according to my picture? So there are two, and the graph tells me two. There are two input that gives me 6. There is this one here, and there is this one here. And I got 2. I got minus 1 and 6. So of course, okay. So this is gonna be minus 1, and this is gonna be equal to 6. All right. So the answer is for the point C. It's gonna be minus 1 for the first coordinate and 6 for the second coordinate. Okay. So that's really the idea about number 5. Is really understanding the relationship between the graph and the formula that gives us the graph. Okay, the formula and the graph. Because the way, when we sketch the graph, we actually, what we're sketching are all the point where whatever the first coordinate, the second has to be f at this coordinate. That's what we sketch. So when I'm sketching this graph, it means somebody, not somebody, but it means that I plug them point, okay, 0, 0, minus 1, 6, 2, f of 2, that's what we're doing. 3, f of 3, and then I connect them and I get this graph. That's really what we are doing. So I sketched it for you, and now this time, and I'm asking you to interpret the graph. All right, any other questions about number 5? It's important. Any other questions? Okay, so let's take care of number 5. And then I will go through yours So now 5, 10, 9. Okay, let's do number 4, and then I will move on to 10 and 9. So let's look at number 4. Okay, this one I will definitely need this picture. So number 4. Okay, so here below is the graph of a function f. Answer each of the questions below. All right, f of -3. All right, what's f of -3? So here the input is -3. I need to find what f. So 1, 2, 3, that's -3, and that's a 0. F of 0, that's a 0. F of 1, if this is 1, which is 1, this is 2, 3, yeah, this is a 1. F of 1, I just go up here and find it. It's right here. That's f of 1. Now, according to my unit, it's from here to here, it's a 10. It means that's a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This will have to be a 12. Okay. And then f of 2, this is 2. F of 2, it means that's this vertical distance till you hit the graph, which is 20. That's the output, because every point on the graph, that's what characterizes a graph. Every point is, if this is 2, the second coordinate is f of 2. That's the graph. Now, find all the numbers such that f of c equal -1. Okay, so f of c equal -1. This was, let us see how the scaling is. According to my scaling, this is -2. So -1 is somewhere in between. So now this is -1. I have to go back to my graph and ask myself, okay, what's this? And what's this? And okay, I have to get closer here. And what's that? Okay, on the exam, I'll give you better numbers. All right, so what's f of c equal -1? This value here, if this is -3, so it's almost a little bit less than -3. So one possibility is like -2.9. Now, if you gave me -2.8, I'll accept. But if you gave me -2, I won't accept. So it's very close. What's the other one? It's a little bit close to 0, but a little bit less than 0. So let us say -0.2. That's another scenario. The last one is a little bit more than 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit more than 3, 4.1. Okay? So the numbers are not very nice, but the concept is always the same. Now determine the interval on which the function is increasing. So increasing, it means as the input increases, the output increases. So it means the graph is actually rising. So we go back and we analyze the graph piece by piece. So increasing up to here, the graph x gain value, but y. So up to here, f is decreasing. And then it starts rising all the way to here. So from here to here, it's increasing. And after that, it's decreasing. Okay, so when it is increasing, it's increasing between this value here and this value here, somewhere between. All right, so now what's this value here? -1 and -1.5. It means for x between -1.5 all the way to here. So let us figure out what this here. So if I go down here, 1, 2, 2.5 or 2.3. Okay. Please ask. Okay, I have to go down. All right. Okay. Now, on which interval it's decreasing? It's decreasing. Here, I'm assuming that the domain is all the numbers. It means the function keeps growing. I'm not stopping at any place. So it's decreasing for x less than -1.5. So this value here That's the one minus 1.5 I'm talking about. And this value here is the 2.5. So for x less than that, and for x larger than 2.5. That's where the function is decreasing. Okay. Questions on number 4 before I move on? All right, so let me back up now to your questions. Okay, we did number 5, we did number 4, 9, and 10. All right, so let's look at number 9. 9 and 10. Okay, 9 and 10. Okay, so first you have to remember, on purpose, I put this to remind you what's the average rate of a function. So I put that, so I want you to, totally memorize it. What's the average rate of a function between a and b? It's the change f of b minus f of a. So that's the picture. This is f of b minus f of a. This is f of b minus f of a. So that's the delta y. Okay, so by how much y changed divided by how much x changed. That's b minus a. That's the b minus a. And the average rate is this ratio between how much y changed over how much x changed. So that's really the formula. So let's look at number 9 and 10. And if there is surprise. So let's see number 9. Number 9. So the function f of x equal 3x plus 4. Now, question addressed to you. What did we call this type of function? 3x plus 4. So this function, that's a linear function because the power here is 1. So it's a constant times x plus 4. It's a linear function. It means if I'll come back to a, but let's talk a little bit about this one. If I sit down and graph this function, I'm gonna get a line. So I'm gonna add one question. So I call it sketch the graph of f. Okay, that's a straight line. To sketch the graph, how can I sketch the graph? One way easy to sketch the graph, I need 2 points. Once I know 2 points, I can sketch the graph. So I sketch the graph. If x is 0, so the function is 3x plus 4. So if x is 0, that's 4. Okay? And then you can take x is 1, and then you're gonna get 7. So if x is 1, this is gonna be 7. And it's a line, it means when I'm gonna graph this, I'm gonna get a line. So if I start plotting point 2, I'm gonna get 10, and I connect them, I'm gonna get honest to goodness line. Okay? So now the question is the following. Find the average rate of change. Find the average rate of change for x between 2 and 4. Okay, what's the average rate of change? And is the answer gonna be surprising? It's verbatim. So, okay, this is question. I graph again, so you guys see it. So this is my function here, that's a 4. And they want me to find the average rate between 2 and 4. That's a 2 and a 4. So how do we find the average rate? Okay, it's the value of the function at 4 minus the value of the function at 2 divided by 4 minus 2. I'm applying the formula verbatim. F of b minus f of a over b minus a, verbatim. Now, what should we get? This is equal to. What is f of 4? Let me do this on the side. What is f of 4? It's 3 times 4 plus 4. 12 plus 4, 16. What is f of 2? 3. This is equal 6. This is equal to 10. So it's going to be 16 minus 10 over 2, which is 6 over 2, which is equal to 3. Okay. Now, is the answer 3 surprising, or we expected it? What do you think? Do we expect a 3? Because what we are doing, that's a line. 2 f of 2, and this is the point for f of 4. And what am I doing here? I'm taking those 2 points, I'm computing f of 4 minus f of 2. This is and that. So I'm computing the change in y. And divided by 4 minus 2. It means this is nothing more than the slope of the line in this case, because the graph is a line. The graph is not really moving like this. The graph is a line, so the average rate is nothing more than the slope of this line. So I expected 3 because the slope of this line is equal to 3. Okay. Now B, I asked you the following, the same question, but I wanted the average between 2 and 2 plus h. So find the average between 2 and 2 plus h. And even if I do that, I'm going to get 3 because the average will represent the slope. But we will do the math just to make sure we know. So, and I'm going to slow down on this one. So to find the average rate, it's going to be the output at 2 plus h minus the output at 2 divided by 2 plus h minus 2. Now we'll do each one of them separately and then I will combine. So I'm going to do f of 2 plus h first. This is equal to what? Now, what is my function? My function is this. F of x is 3x plus 4. So what is f of 2 plus h? It means everywhere there is an x, I put 2 plus h. So this is going to be equal to 3 times, whenever there is an x, now that's the 2 plus h plus 4. This will go here. So now this is equal to what? 6 plus 3h plus 4, that's 10 plus 3h. I said I will do it one by one. So I got f of 2 pluses, and then I substitute. Then what is f of 2? F of 2 is 3 times 2 plus 4, which is equal to 10. Now I go back and I find the average, and we should get 3, period. So what's in this problem? So what's the average rate? F of 2 plus h, I found it to be 10 plus 3h. 10 plus 3h minus f of 2, it's 10. 2 plus h, those and those simplify, I will be left with h, minus 10 plus 10. So I will have 3h over h, which is equal to 3, which is the slope because this is a linear function. And the average rate is nothing more than the slope, which is equal to 3. Okay. Any questions about this problem before I move to number 10? Okay. So, you know, it's your day. You guys can ask anything you want. Okay, number 10. Just again along the same lines. Here is the questions right there. So my function now is a little bit more complicated, and this is not a line anymore. That's no more lines. So the average rate of change is not constant. So this function, if we graph it, if we graph this function, we're actually gonna get a parabola because it's quadratic. So So it's going to look something like that. Something like this, if we graph it. So it's not a line anymore. Question number A is, find the average rate for x between 2 and 6. Okay, so first the formula, the average rate equal the output at 6 minus the output at 2 over 6 minus 2. Now we compute each one of them separately, otherwise we will do mistakes. So it's going to give me 6 squared minus 2 times 6 plus 6, which will give me 36 minus 12 plus 6. So minus 12, that's minus 6, that's going to give me a 30. So if I do any algebra, any stupid arithmetic mistake, please correct me. Now, what is f of 2? I plug in 2 for x. It's 2 squared plus 6. That's a 4 minus 4 plus 6, which is equal to 6. So my average rate is f of 6. That's 30. Minus f of 2. That's a 6 over 4. Means 24 over 4, which is equal to 6. Okay, so it's not really here. I mean, this is not a line, so I cannot tell you the slope of the curve. So this is point that I say this is 2, f of 2, and this is 6, f of 6. And what I computed is the following: the difference, how much the output changed. This is f of 6 minus f of 2. And I divided by how much the x changed. So that's the 2 and that's the 6 and that's the 4 in your picture. And basically this is the slope of the line that joined those two. If I take a line that joining those 2 points, it's the slope of this line. Not the curve, because the function is curving. It's the slope of the line joining those 2 points. That's really what it is. Now B. B is between t and t plus h. And t plus h. Okay. Again, verbatim. We're going to do everything verbatim. So, what's the average rate? It's f at t plus h minus f of t over t plus h minus t. Okay. And now the denominator is easy, that's h. So this will leave me with f of t plus h minus f of t. Now we have to do each one of them by itself. So I will take f of t plus h and I evaluate that. Now what is my function? What is my function doing? My function takes an input x, and that's the formula. It's squared 2 times x plus 6. So verbatim, what's going to do to t plus h? Whenever there is x, now we have t plus h squared minus 2 times. Whenever there is x, I have t plus h plus 6. Okay, now we're going to expand it and proceed. So this will give me t plus h squared. It's t plus h, you multiply it by t plus h. So you take t plus h and you multiply it by t plus h. Now if you do that, you will get, multiply it. You get t squared plus 2th plus h squared. Be careful, you don't get t squared plus h squared. You don't distribute the two. You have to multiply like this. And then now you have to distribute this minus 2. So that's a minus 2 minus 2h plus 6. So then we collect like term if there is. And there is no like term. There is nothing really to combine. So that's the f of t plus h. Now what is f of t? F of t is wherever there is x, I put t. Now I evaluated each one. I substitute. So the average would be f of t plus h means t squared plus 2th plus h squared minus 2t minus 2 plus 6. Now minus t squared means minus t squared minus 2t plus 6 divided by h. Okay, I did something not right. What did I do wrong? I wrote something not right. What is it? What is it I wrote that's not right? Let's go through it. Is this correct? That's the f of t plus h. What is it I did not correct? Anybody? You should be screaming. What is it I did which is not correct? Okay, if nobody answered, you guys answers. I didn't put parentheses, and that's absolutely crucial. If I don't put parentheses, I'll get my problem wrong because I will forget to distribute. And this is my f of t. So missing parentheses will be absolutely, absolutely problematic. So now we're done with that. So finally, I will get, now I'm going to distribute my minus, and I will be done. Plus 6. Now I distribute. If I forget my parentheses, I will not distribute correctly. Minus t squared plus 2t minus 6 over h. Okay, and then the rest we're going to kind of collect like term and combine. T squared minus t squared, they go. Other things cancel out. Plus 2t minus 2t cancel out. Plus this one cancel out, and there is nothing else that cancel out. So I will have 2th plus h squared minus 2h divided by h. Okay. And now we notice something, that I can factor out the h in the numerator. So I can really factor it. If I factor, I will have 2t in here. I will have an h left, because h times h will give me the h squared, and I will have the 2 in here. So that's something we realize we can do, divided by h. Now what this will allow me is, okay, you can do that because 2t plus h minus 2, that's the answer. Okay, and this brings up, okay, questions before I make a comment about a mistake I see a lot when I'm working, grading. Any questions about that? Okay, I'm going to write something and you're going to tell me if I am right or wrong. So when I'm working grading you, I notice something like that. Is this correct? Can we simplify this way? The question is this correct? Can I simplify this way? Yes or no? Is this right? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. No. When can we simplify? We can simplify when the term is part of a product. So I have h multiplied by anything, by 2h plus 3 over h. Only when it's part of a product, I can simplify. If it's part of a sum, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, just take example. If I give you 2 plus 6 over 6, this is definitely, sorry, 2 plus 2 over 2. This is definitely not 6. That's 8 over 2, that's a 4. So the only way, okay, the only way I can simplify if h is part of the product, not part of the sum. And this mistake is occurring a lot in your quizzes. So that's the only way we can simplify. All right, Let me see if those questions are real questions are asked, I guess. All right. Now, I'll keep going. If you have specific questions, you guys put them. Otherwise, I'm going to look at number 11. And then I have other problems I would like to do with you. But number 11 is still the average rate. But here I'm asking you again about its meaning, because, you know, what does it really represent? It's just like the slope. It's change per unit. That's always like the slope. So here my question is, the table below gives the numbers in million of iPhones sold as a function of time. So I try to give you actually accurate numbers. So in the year 2008, 12 million iPhones were sold, 12, 125 million, 211 million, and 217 million. Okay, so the question is, let n be the function that is assigned to each year t, so t is my input, and n take time, and it is assigned to it the number of iPhones sold. That's really my output, is the number of iPhones sold. Right? So that's my n. So my first question is, so this year, that's the t, and the time, and this is the number of iPhone in million. Okay. So what is n of 2018 mean? N of 2018 is the number of iPhones sold in the year 2018. So, according to my table, this is 217 millions. Okay. Now B, I don't have to do C, I'll do B. What's the average rate of change? B is telling you. What's the average rate of change for between 2008 and 2012? So the question, what's the average? Give it unit and interpret. All right, so between 2008 and 2012, what is the average? All right, so again, the formula is the number of phones sold minus the number of phones sold in 2008 divided by the change in time. Okay. That's the formula verbatim. So basically what we're doing, between 2008 and 2012, the number of phones changed, sold. So that's the change in the number of iPhones sold. That's the 125 minus 12. So that's gonna give me the 3, that's this piece right there. So that is the 125 minus 12. Okay, so it tells me how many more iPhones were sold, which is gonna give me 3, 1, and 1, right? So it's gonna give me 113. It means 113 million more iPhones were sold between 2008 and 2012. And I'm gonna divide them by the change in how long it took to make this. It took 4 years to make this change. Okay, so that's really my average rate. It's 113 over 4. Now, if I pick up my calculator and I compute this a little bit, especially if I ask you to do that. So it's give me 28.25. Now the question addressed to you. What's the unit? What's the unit? To know the unit, you go back. How did you find? What did we find? What's the unit? iPhone per year. Absolutely, it's iPhone per year. It means on average, and that's crucial. That's why it's called the average. It means on average. Between 2008 and 2012, the number of iPhones sold was increasing by 28.25 million per year. Not million. Million is not right. It's million per year. Million per year. So the unit is million iPhone per year. It means on average, between 2008 and 2012, the number of iPhones sold were increasing by 28.25 per year. Is this increase a constant one? I mean, is it increasing exactly 28.25? The answer is no. First of all, nobody's told you it's linear, so the increase is not the same. It's actually changing. And the table shows us that between 12 and 16, the change actually is actually getting less, because if you take 211 and you take away 125, you're gonna get here 86 million. So the first 4 years it increased by 113, then increased by less, by 86 million. So that's not linear. Of course, the graph is not gonna, if you start graphing, so at the beginning we have a sharp increase, and the increase went less and less. So we don't have a linear function. The unit is million per year, million per year. Right. Okay. So do you guys have any questions yourself? Any more about the review? Okay, so let me do some of the problems but please make sure you go every one of them. I mean, everyone will be somehow represented on the exam. I would like to do some problems along to solve each of the equations. Okay, unless you have something very specific yourself. So I'm gonna solve some of those. I did that last time. I'm gonna solve some of them. I'm telling you, you're gonna have some along those lines. Which one you guys would like me to do? One, is it easy or hard? Very quickly, I want answers on chat. Easy or hard? You guys are so quiet today. Okay, nobody tell me easy, nobody tells me hard. I can't really know. All right, so that's easy. The second one. The second one, no answers. All right, let's do the second one. Okay, I see easy.
When you say
what?
When you're asking easy or hard, do you mean is the equation is easy to figure out or hard to figure out?
Yeah, is it easy to figure out?
Yeah, the first one, yes.
Yeah, this one. Okay, we do that. All right, because I don't want to do something that is really, really simple. Okay, I want to do something that you guys, may have difficulty with. Okay, and here I gave you a hint, and you're gonna do that. So B. So I'll do the one that I think you. Okay, 2 plus. So I hit the solve for x equal to 6. And here I gave you a hint. You should isolate the square root term. So to isolate it, it means I have to take away 2 from both sides, which gives me a 4. And now how to solve something like that. Of course, the square root bothers everybody. We have to ready to get rid of it, but I cannot throw it away. But I know that squaring it will help me figure this problem out. Because by definition, the square root is few number. When you square it, you get x plus 4. And that will give me the x plus 4 equal to 16. And that will solve x for me. Okay. All right. So now let's look at C. I did it. No, actually, I will do C. So we need to solve this equation. Okay. Okay. What will I do first? Quick. What's the key word here?
Factor?
Factor. Very good. Factor. What shall I factor, Kaylee? Or Christian, whatever, one of you. Factor. Because it's already equal to 0, so I don't have to worry about this term. Factor the x. We're going to factor the x. If I factor the x, what shall I be left with? If I factor the x, I'm going to left with 3x minus 5. Okay? Now, what does it mean this is equal to 0? If it's equal to 0, it means this term equal to 0 or this term equal to 0. So it means now we have either x equal to 0. Of course, if I plug in 0 here, I get 0. Or 3x minus 5 equal to 0. Now, if 3x minus 5 equal to 0, I need to solve for x. I need 3x equal 5. It means x equal 5 over 3. So we have two solutions, x0, x is 5 over 3. Okay? So whenever you factor, regardless how you do it, you put each term equal to 0, and then you solve for your x. Okay. Now D, I think I've done a lot of those. Let me do E and F. E, again, I did this before, but I over whatever, 5x minus 2. And this is equal to minus 1, and we have to solve. Okay. All right, again, all of you, what's the key idea here? What's the key idea? What shall I do? I need to find the x. What shall I do? What's bothering us, and how can we make up for it? Okay, what's bothering us is having a denominator. So we cannot get rid of it. So we multiply both sides by 5x minus 2. So it means that I'm going to multiply this and this by 5x minus 2. And what's the benefit? The benefit is those will simplify. And then I will have 3x plus 6 equal. Now be very careful, I have to distribute now. Minus 5x minus minus plus 2. And now I come back to a simple scenario, a scenario that you're familiar with. I need to put the x's, that's x to a power 1, to solve those x together, constant term together. So I'm going to add 5x both sides. So add 5x, which is going to give me 8x plus 6 equal to 2. Subtract 6 both sides will give me 8x equal minus 4, and divide by 8 equal minus 2. Okay, so just simple algebraic skill that is essential in this course, right? And in any math class anyway. We'll do the last one along those lines. F, and it's x over x squared minus 3x plus 3 equal to 1. Of course, on the surface, it looks kind of hard, but it's not hard. Would it be minus a half? Yeah, I'll check. I can do stupid mistakes, so I'll check my work. Yes, thank you very much. Sorry. We divide by 8 both sides, which is going to give me minus a half. Thanks a lot. Okay? All right. As I said, please check my algebra mistake. Again, this is in the same scenario. I have this denominator. I'm going to somehow to eliminate this problem. So I'm going to multiply both by x squared minus 3x plus 3. All right? So by doing this, I will get x equal 1 times x squared minus 3x plus 3. All right, so it's going to give me x equal x squared minus 3x plus 3. All right, how can I solve this? How can I solve this? Hurry up, move the x over. We have to move the x over. There is no way out. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So just give me 0 equal x squared. If I move the x over, minus 4x plus 3. Now I am in a familiar territory. There is nothing really harder. I have to factor this out, and proceed. So I have a 3 and I have a 4, most probably the 3 and the 1 in this case, the x and the x, and I think this would do. And since I doubt myself because I do stupid mistake, x times x, that's the x squared, minus x, minus 3x, minus 4x, minus plus, I'm fine. Okay, and now if this is 0, it means each one of them 0. Which give me x equal to 3. And x minus 1, 0, which will give me x equal to 1. Now you can plug them back here and make sure you're right. Actually, just pick one of them and plug it. Let me take x equal to 1. Plug it back here. Do I get 1? It's 1 over 1 minus 3 plus 3. That's give me 1 minus 3 plus give me a 1. 1 over 1, it's 1. So this is correct. You can do the same to 3. Plug it in here. You should get honest to goodness 1. You don't, it means something is not correct in the process. Okay? All right. So there's still a lot in the review, and you're responsible for basically every one of them, not only the one I did today. Here I would like to look at number 1, and in number 1 and 2, I told you very clearly on bright space, I have a summary of all the law of exponent. Do not ignore it. Please look at it while you're doing those problems. But let me remind you some basic fact. Okay, my first question is like this. My first question's goal is really to make sure you understand. This is, my question is, what should go here? Which root of 27? 1/3 is which root of, that's the cubic root of 27, which is equal to 3, because by definition, what's the cubic root? It's which number you take it to the power 3, you get 27, and this number is 3. Okay. Now, do not confuse that, which is a very, very common mistake, which is I saw a lot. 27 to the minus 3. What does 27 to the minus 3 represent? What does a negative exponent tell us? A negative exponent has nothing to do with a third. It's 1 over the 27 to the power 3. Okay, so be very careful. Do not confuse a third with minus 3. Are very different from each other. Absolutely different from each other. All right, so let us practice a little bit this fractional notation, because it's not really, it's not trivial. So if you have 27 to the power 2/3, okay? And my question is, what number should go here and what number should go here? That's really what my question is. And the way I call this n and I call this m. All right, so what's the n and what is the m in this scenario? And then evaluate. Okay, n is the denominator, it's the root, that's the 3. Okay, m is the power here, which is equal to the 2. Once we do that, even evaluating will not become hard, because that's the, unless, well, especially when the numbers are cooked up the way I'm doing here, that's gonna give me 3 squared, which is equal to 9. So even without your calculator, you guys will be safe in those problems. So the main thing for, on the top of knowing the rules, it means how you multiply exponent. It's crucial for me that you understand the notation, the negative exponent versus the root exponent. So do not confuse those. A to the minus n is 1 over a to the n. The nth root is a to the 1 over n. Okay, do not confuse those two very important facts. And then, okay, so that's for the first one, but please make sure you can do those. What else? We went through 4, 5. 6, just make sure you can do it. I mean, this will be one of the basic questions. 6 basic questions I would ask. 7 or 8, again, those are some of the basic questions that you expect, something like that. And there is something I will ask, for example, just to make sure you will not misunderstand me. I will tell you, find f of 1/2 and write your answer as one fraction. What do I mean by that? So let me pick up this problem. It means I don't want you class to put decimals or anything. So suppose I take this problem, f of x equal. So the goal of this problem to make sure your algebra is fine. And I told you find f of 1/2 and write your answer as a fraction. So what do I mean by that? What's f of 1/2? Means everything here is a half. And this is a half. So here I don't want you to pick up your calculator and give me decimals. So what I expect you to do is basically a half minus 1, we have to find a common denominator in the numerator. The common denominator is a 2. Now this is simple, but I can give you something not simple like this. And this is a half. And the common denominator here, I have to multiply by 2, divide by 2. Okay, so this will give me 1 minus a half. So it's minus a half in the numerator, divided by 15 over 2. And then you have to use the property of fractions over 15. And your answer would be minus 1 over 15. And that's what I mean. I want your answer as a fraction. It means if you pick up your calculator and you give me whatever decimal the calculator give you, I will not accept as an answer. So I definitely want you to do those type of simple fraction work. And this is what number basically 7. That's my goal. So make sure you can do all of them. And then linear, you will have a lot about linear function. And one of the questions, make sure you can go over the linear function I did in class and try to make sure you can do 19 and 20. Try to make sure you can do those problems, answer every part of it. Okay, every one of them, 19 and 20. That's linear function. What you write on the horizontal, vertical, what's the formula, what's the intercept, what's the slope, and so on and so forth. Okay. Any questions for me? Okay, so the exam will be on Zoom, just like your quizzes. And I will stay with you so you guys, I can answer every questions you guys have. So don't be not even a minute late because the exam, actually I will open the exam a little bit even ahead of time. So I will start my class instead of starting it at 12:30. Okay, I will open at 12:20. So you guys can start working at 12:20. So I will open it and I will be with you. And if you guys have a printer, print the exam. If you don't, there isn't much I can do. So don't print it, but you have to write the problem in order. So don't write 1 and then do 5. It makes grading impossible for me. Okay, try to do the problem in order. You can come back to a problem, but kind of like leave a space for it and come back to it. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, so the best of luck. And if you have any questions, please email me. Okay, good luck. You guys can go. Anybody has any questions can stay. Okay. Any question for those who are staying beside Amanda? Any question?